Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tori Thompson. I'm a communication arts and history double major, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my communication arts senior project. I decided to do a film analysis on the film 1917, directed by Sam Mendes. I chose this specific topic because for the past 4 years, being in both departments of history and communication arts, I've been able to gain a deeper understanding for the important connection between communication and history. History needs to be communicated well in order to share the past with others and to really understand what happened in the past. Within this presentation, I'll be going through my project design, my project description, and my project implications. So the problem that I decided to address through this film analysis is the problem of historical accuracy within historically based films. Through my analysis, I looked at the cinematic approach as a filmmaker and the historical accuracy of the film as a historian. The audience for my work would be filmmakers and historians, but it could also be for anyone interested in films and history, or even just the film 1917 itself. This project matters because today the general public gets most of their knowledge of history through films, television, and media, and things like that. And if this information is incorrect or misled, people will have generalized misconceptions about historical events. Essentially, false historical portrayals would change the truth about history. So I wanted to look at how 1917 portrays history and what within the film is fact and what is fiction. So I started by watching the film. I watched it twice, actually. And one of the big questions that I wanted to answer was actually, how is this film in particular set apart from other historically based war films, and what makes it so unique? So I researched and analyzed the cinematic approach and techniques within the film, specifically how they accomplished the one long continuous shot, which the film is known for. And then I researched the historical accuracy within the film as well. I found that the storyline and the characters are only based on true stories. They're not actual portrayals of people who fought in World War I. But I concluded that the film of 1917's cinematic use of the one continuous long shot actually supports the film's overall historical accuracy of what it would have been like living as a soldier during World War I. So I want to show you this short behind-the-scenes clip real quick of 1917 that talks a little bit about the director's intentions and the cinematic techniques that were used in making the film.
From the very beginning, I felt this movie should be told in real time. Every step of the journey, breathing every breath with these men, felt integral. And there is no better way to tell this story than with one continuous shot.
From the first moment I talked to Sam about the idea of it as a one-shot movie, I knew it was going to be really immersive.
Stay low.
It's meant to make you feel that you are in the trenches with those two young men.
And the camera never ever comes away from the two characters.
Sometimes you have a camera being carried by an operator, hooked onto a wire, and the wire carries it across more land, and it's unhooked again. That operator runs with it, then steps onto a small Jeep, which carries him another 400 yards, and he steps off it again and goes around a corner. There's always that sort of get-out-of-jail card that you have with a movie. Well, you know, we might be able to cut around this, or we might take that scene out. That's not possible on this film. The dance of the camera and the mechanics all have to be in sync with what the actor's doing.
It's like a piece of theatre every take. Once it starts, it can't stop. If something goes wrong, you just have to keep going.
And there were so many scenes that I just completely got lost in.
I'm sorry!
We're on commission.
Let me through! Orders from the General.
Sometimes a scene was 6 minutes long, and when they'd call cut, I would completely forget who I was, and I was Blake.
If you told it in a conventional way, I don't think you would have felt the energy. You're always moving forward. You never go back.
So I really hope you enjoyed watching that little clip that really got to show you the behind-the-scenes making of 1917 and how they accomplished the one long continuous shot. And really how it pushed this story forward because of its cinematic approach of that. So for me, one of the biggest problems or the biggest constraints I've had creating this project was that I needed to switch it all around because of COVID-19. Just needed to come home and I couldn't go out and film my original plan and video that I had. But as a graduating communication arts and history major, I decided to take an unfamiliar problem of false misconceptions of historical films and just analyze it. And really what I found is that the role of communication in filmmaking, in historic filmmaking, needs to be detailed. The mise-en-scene, and like down to the very last detail, is super important in telling the story as it would have happened in real time. And as a future filmmaker, detail is extremely important. Taking the time to plan everything out and just plan. And that's really what a lot of the filmmakers, Sam Mendes and Robert Deacon, really talked about in a lot of their interviews, is the importance of planning out, pre-planning, so that by the time they were ready to shoot, it was all planned out and historically accurate as well. So basically, in conclusion, I found that 1917 does an excellent job throughout the film, even despite the storyline and characters being fictitious. They are based on true stories and facts. They're actually based on Sam Mendes' grandfather, who told him stories when he was younger. And just from doing this project throughout the whole process, I've really found that there are two main types of modern historical films. Some films want to create a reenactment of real stories and people from that historical time period, and others want to create a portrayal based around true stories. And I really found that either way the films are done, they can be done with strong historical accuracy. And 1917 was able to do that with their film. Even though the story and the characters were not real people from World War I, all the sets, everything that they did, the actions of the soldiers that you've seen in every shot, it's all historically accurate, things that would have happened during World War I. So I wanted to end my presentation with another clip from a behind the scenes of 1917. I really recommend that you watch it if you haven't already. It's really a good show. They won a lot of awards, and deservedly so. So thanks for listening, and thanks.
What Roger Deakins has done with this film is amazing. Some of the camera work just blew my mind.
Roger is always so inventive. It was like no other form of filmmaking that I've ever experienced before.
You have to construct a journey for the camera that's every bit as interesting as the journey of the actor. What I wanted was one ribbon, like a snake, moving forward, in which the information that you needed happened to fall in front of where the camera was pointing. The fact that we're moving always forward, it does have a compound effect, a gradual growing menace. And that constant sense of threat of what isn't seen, of what might be around the corner, is baked into the DNA of this movie.
There is only one way this war ends. Last man standing.
It's really important that we don't forget the people who fought in the First World War. There's a duty to remember them and remember what they did.
The things that these soldiers go through are horrendous. It's intimate in a way that I don't think any other war movie I've seen is.
Until you actually see it on a screen, you don't really realize how immersive it is and how that technique kind of draws you into it.
For me, engagement is very important, and that is behind the way in which we've decided to shoot this film. At the end of the day, you just hope you made something special that people feel personally about. When you achieve that, it's really beautiful, and exhilarating.